Ms. Jones, you claim the defendant is an ex-boyfriend who got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 8-month-old daughter, Hazel.
Yes.
You and your mother petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that he is Hazel's father, so he will finally step up. Mr. Joyner, you say you are a responsible U.S. military veteran who would never neglect a call to duty and are 100% certain you are not her child's biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Jones, what has Mr. Joyner done for your child?
He has not done anything. Babies cost a lot of money, and I'm a single mother, and I can't do it on my own, and Hazel really needs her dad in her life. He is her father.
And he's been denying her since birth?
Since I was pregnant with her. I've been trying to reach out to him. You know, I got doctor's appointments coming up. Do you want to come? I mean, he just have no interest, really, since I got pregnant with her at 6 weeks.
You've done nothing for Hazel, Mr. Joyner?
No, Your Honor, I haven't.
Tell the court why.
Honestly, I don't feel like it's my baby. I don't feel like it's my baby.
You don't feel, or what are your doubts?
It's not my baby. It is not my baby. I am a U.S. Veteran. I'm a military veteran, and I do take care of my responsibilities.
Do you have other children?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
So you just from the start didn't believe it?
No, Your Honor.
Take me back to the nature of this relationship. Were you in committed relationship, dating, what?
No, Your Honor.
We were dating. We were dating.
Your Honor, I would not say we was dating in any kind of serious relationship. I met her at our place where we worked at. It was a restaurant. And, I mean, hell, the first night I brought her home, Your Honor, I didn't even know her name. I mean, just to be honest.
You say you're in a relationship, Ms. Jones.
Yes.
He says it wasn't a relationship at all. He didn't even know your name.
It was. The first night when I went by his house, his auntie, one of his family members, brought me home from work, and we chilled over here where he lives at. And we talked for a long time, so it's not like he didn't know my name. We worked together. So, and then probably an hour and a half after that, we had intercourse.
And so you didn't use protection?
We didn't.
How long did this relationship, sexual relationship, or whatever it was, go on?
It started January 21st and ended probably like end of March.
So, Mom, Ms. Jones, did your daughter ever introduce you to Ms. Joyner?
Yes,
Mr. Joyner, did you know anything about him?
Yes, ma'am. I know the situation because she used to take my car and go over there and visit him and stay sometimes this night and everything with him. I even went over there to his residence, spent the weekend and everything with them, with my other grandson. So that's how I know he's denying it. He's lying, Your Honor. Yes, he is. Because I used to go pick him up from the restaurant, him and her, where they worked together at and everything. Yes.
Do you remember her picking you guys up?
Your Honor, I'm not denying that we didn't see each other, but what we're here about is the baby. And I know for a fact that she was having sexual intercourse with at least 2 other people from our workplace.
No. It wasn't 2 other people. Once we got serious, I cut all that off. And that was probably like, I give it take 3 weeks after that. I cut everybody off to be with him.
She was serious with him, Your Honor, very serious.
He met my grandparents, all my family, my friends.
Everybody. I really had respected him. I said, Libby, it looked like you got a good man this time in your life. And I was respecting him. I was going over there to his home, and I was cooking for him and cleaning up. We was doing all those things. We was all spending time with each other because we thought it was serious.
Like I've been with.
Why are you spending time with her mother and her at your house and doing all that if it's just a sexual relationship and you don't care anything about her?
They pushed their way in on me, Your Honor.
No, that's not true.
You say this was just casual, it was nothing, but when a young woman's mother says, I'm over there cooking and cleaning and we going over there.
He even was thanking me for when I was coming over there and stuff and cooking and stuff. He said, tell your mama thank you, I appreciate it and stuff.
And you thought you were over there with your daughter's boyfriend and just helping them out?
Yes, ma'am. Her grandmother and all of them, stuff like that, they was liking him. They really was. If it wasn't serious, Your Honor, why he was talking about him and her moving in together. Her moving into the place.
Yes. When did that happen?
When they was with each other.
Your Honor, when I met her, she was supposed to be moving to Texas in 1 week. She said, I'm moving to Texas with my boyfriend or baby daddy, whatever it was, in 1 week. So as far as I knew, in my mind, I was just gonna, you know, do what it do with her for a few days, and then she was gonna be gone.
But
and
did
then all
I
of a
ever
sudden-
leave? Did I ever leave?
Exactly, she never left.
No, I was committed to you and only you. So
I never asked her, hey, will you be with me? Will you be my girl?
you have
Like
many
that.
a times.
As far as
I don't know if that was to get me out my drawers or what, but you have many a times.
So what happened when you told him you were pregnant?
I called him and I was like, I got something to tell you. I'm at the hospital. He was like, don't tell me you're pregnant. I said, well, I'm pregnant. And like he just sat on the phone silent, and then he said, I'm gonna call you back. And he never called me back. And I'm just waiting for the phone to ring and no call back from Mr. Joyner.
Like
You
I
never
said,
called back?
I had to take some time to think about it. Like I said, I was not the only one. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but I know that she was having sex in that time frame of which it could be me or it could have been the other guy.
How do you know this?
Because when she came to me and said she was pregnant, it might have been 3 weeks, maybe a month after I'd met her.
How do you know she was even having sex with anybody else?
Because it was everybody at the workplace knew. Even she'll
And
admit it.
everybody
She'll
at the
even admit it.
workplace knew that me and you were messing around too.
Two, also.
So
But she
wait,
just
Ms.
said
Jones,
two.
are you admitting what he says is true, that you were sleeping with other people when you first started sleeping with him?
It was one guy I was sleeping with, but I cut it off. Yeah.
So then
me and
that
him had got serious.
substantiates his testimony.
Yeah.
If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. Why do you think she's claiming you're the father then if you say there was this other person and everybody knew it?
He's a little boy and I'm a man. You know, I have my own place. She's seen what it was, you know. And she's seen my means of, you know, what I had, and the other guy, she was, you know, guy or two that she was sleeping with at the time, and she thought that I would be the best decision.
Or we were together, or we were dating. We were in a serious relationship.
We wasn't.
Like everything was about Mr. Joyner. When we were working together, Mr. Joyner, Miss Jones, everybody knew us. Messing around, everybody knew we was messing around. It wasn't no other person.
We knew each other for maybe a month after when she said she had gotten pregnant. Your Honor, I had just moved there from Virginia. 25 years old I am, and I've been having sex roughly 10, 11, 12 years. I've never gotten any female pregnant at all.
Well,
and then I moved down there the first week I meet her.
It only happens one time.
The first week
That's it.
I
One
meet
time
her.
it can happen.
So wait a minute, are you responsible or just lucky? Because do you use protection if you having sex for these 11 years?
To be honest with you, no.
Well, that's irresponsible. You just told me you're a responsible military man. Now, I thank you for your service, I will say that. But if you're responsible, how are you having sex for 11 years and never using protection?
Well, who's to say I'm irresponsible? Okay, yeah, I could have.
I'm telling you, you are. For 11 years having sex and you're not using protection?
I don't
really?
I don't think that means I'm irresponsible.
You don't?
No.
Well, look, I'd rather be irresponsible than dead, because you could be that too, having unprotected sex for 11 years.
Okay, I could be, but I'm just the first one to admit it. I'm not the first guy who admits what? They don't like to use a condom, so I don't like to use a condom. I'm not saying every time I had sex.
But my point is this.
What I mean is I was in long-term relationships, Your Honor. You know, for a few years
but you're telling me you were not in a long-term relationship with her. You're telling me this was only a sexual relationship with her. Were you using protection with her?
No.
With Ms. Jones?
No, I did not.
Mr. Joyner, actually your mother's here in court. I'd like to hear from her. Ron, will you please escort her in?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Hello, Ms. Joyner. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
You know, we're here discussing baby Hazel,
Yes,
her
ma'am.
paternity, and Ms. Jones asserts that your son, Mr. Joyner, is her biological father. Do you believe that?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Yes.
Please
I absolutely do.
tell the court why.
Thank you.
Well, they brought her to see me when she was 2 days old. Olivia, I didn't find out till 2 weeks before that she was pregnant. When you
So your
touch
son
a
never
baby,
told you?
Never.
No.
Never.
You know, you just know. I have a grandmother's ring I got in April. It has Hazel's name and birthstone right with the rest of my grandkids. I absolutely believe 100% that she is his.
And what makes you believe so strongly?
As a mother, you just know. You just know, and to me, she looks like him.
Yes.
Your Honor, I have this to say. Not too long ago, a couple years ago, in West Virginia, where I moved from, there was another situation just similar to this one right here. girl said that she had a baby, you know, it was mine, all this. And I mean, this baby looked identical to me, identical. I thought so myself. I got attached to this baby, and the test results came in, and it was negative. And, you know, my mother was, you know, bringing the baby around, and he thought so too, thought so herself, 100%. Everybody thought so, 100%. That's why, you know, the situation has happened before, and that's.
So you've been through this,
Yeah.
and it did not turn out in your favor. It didn't turn out to be what even you thought. You thought
I
this
even
particular
thought,
child
it
was
looked
yours.
exactly like
Looked
me.
just like him
Just
at 3
like
years
him.
old. Yeah.
So why do you believe your mother is saying that she truly believes Miss Jones's child, baby Hazel, is your biological child? Why do you think your mother's saying that?
I don't know, maybe just deep down she's ready for me to have a kid. I mean, she knows
Hell
she's
no,
ready for
you're
me.
not responsible to have a baby.
You know what I mean?
You,
no.
No.
My little brother, he has 2 of them, and I don't have any yet.
It has nothing to do with that, because he ain't got his crap together either. Neither one, I mean, they're both young, I get it, but they're not responsible. Not responsible. Needs to grow up, and denying it is not going to help. You're missing every day that you don't.
Yes. And it sounds like your mother has stepped up in your absence thus far, because she is 8 months old.
I was helping Olivia from day one. I have been there and bought that baby diapers, clothes for me from day one, when neither one of them would.
First,
I was buying things for Hazel when nobody was. When all I had was my mom.
Excuse me, Your
When I
Honor.
was pregnant, where was y'all? Where was the Joyner family?
When did I find out, sweetheart? I can't do the rest of it.
Well,
You
I'm
told
sorry
me
that
2
your
weeks
son
before.
didn't tell you that I was
And
pregnant.
I
All right,
stepped up immediately.
let's get some order, because
I
I
just-
want to understand what's going on.
I just want to test. I just want to test to prove it because of the situation that's happened before in the past. But who
But you
could blame
wouldn't
me?
pay for it. You wouldn't pay for it. A man would have paid for it. $700. Just saying. Sorry.
No, that's what you're here to do.
I mean,
that's what you're here to do.
That's
is
the
to-
facts.
I agree. I mean, when you say in open court that you are a responsible military veteran, and you said she saw you from a mile away because of the way you live and what you have, and you have a home and you have this, if you say, I'd like to have a paternity test, if you know she doesn't have the means and the answer is important to you and there's a baby on the line that could potentially be yours, why not just say, I'm going to pay for it. I'd like you to bring Hazel and let's get this done. Why didn't you get the test done if you have the means and you are so responsible?
Well, I mean, just because I have the means don't mean I have $700 to just go. I mean, what if it wasn't mine? Then that's all she had to do was go to I told her, file to go through the state and all this, you know, all this could have been done buku long ago.
When Hazel was born, I was on the internet.
And I was keeping Hazel while she was working at night. She has another child. So she is trying. She is a single mother. She is young. She don't know. He's a little older, should have enough sense to do it.
So, Ms. Jones, was it unprotected sex with the other person or protected?
It was protected.
Condoms are only 99%, not 100%. Not 100%.
Now you
And
got
I'm pretty
facts.
sure it didn't break. I'm sure of that.
Protection or not, she just admitted to having sex with another guy in that time frame. So how for her to pinpoint me and say, you're the father? I just want to know how she come up with that. Or maybe it's because I had a place. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a military man.
Well, she says when she met you, she cut the other guy off and was only sleeping with you.
Yes.
So if the child was conceived in a window of time when she was only sleeping with you, then you're the only possible father.
I am 100% positive. I am
But
not
you're the only one I was having sex with.
In that window, when she said, I'm pregnant, when you go take it back to when she could have gotten pregnant, in that window, I was not the only one.
My contraceptive date was February 4th when I went to the doctor. And it points straight to you. That's how I knew who it was, hands down.
Well, I think the only way to move forward is to get the results.
Yes.
Let's get them. Ron, the envelope, please. In the case of Jones versus Joyner, when it comes to 8-month-old Hazel Jones, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Joyner, you are the father.
Yes.
I see tears in your eyes. You looking at your baby? What do you feel?
Man up to her now.
What do you feel?
She's beautiful.
She is. She's a doll baby.
What do you feel, Mr. Joyner?
She's beautiful. I'm sorry for denying her.
And I will say this, Mr. Joyner, you've lost some time, and I can see from your reaction, you know, you worked yourself up to believe there was no way she could be yours. And you know what? I understood why, because you had been in a situation where you bought in, you believed it, you even felt it, and then it wasn't. And you probably were in some ways protecting yourself. It was almost probably a defense mechanism, like I'm just not buying in until I know.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why it's important to get the answer as fast as possible, because now she's just 8 months old. The beauty of this is she's so young, she won't have to remember this. You can step in now and really get in there and be the kind of father that she needs. Can you do that?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Hanger, you claim the defendant has already been placed on child support for your daughter, Chloe, and therefore there is no reason to administer a paternity test.
Yes, Your Honor.
You've dragged him to court to order he pay the support he has been neglecting. Mr. Babbit, you've petitioned the court to order a DNA test because you are 100% certain that you are not her child's father and claim to have proof to support your case.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
The court must decide if there is enough evidence to administer a paternity test. But first, Ms. Hanger, what has Mr. Babbit done for your child?
He's done absolutely nothing for her. He's a spoiled, rotten, arrogant brat, point blank. He won't even admit that she even looks like him when she's identical to him.
Just because you frame her up there and put her next to my family, that's not actually a DNA test. You know what I mean? That's not actually.
Okay, you'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Right. Mr. Babbit, you say you're certain you're not.
In all actuality, I mean, like, no, I don't believe it.
You're blind, dude. You're blind. That's point blank. You're blind.
A medical professional at all giving me the opinion that you were pregnant would have been good too. But I mean, like.
And so wait a minute. Just let me understand this situation. I don't know how you two even ever had sex. The way you two are acting. I mean, goodness, how did you end up on child support?
Oh, I defaulted, I suppose, as they say, because I didn't get served. They dropped papers off on my porch, or on my grandmother's porch, and...
No, I showed seen the paperwork from them. It's Jane Doe signed it, but that legally states that you've received this paperwork.
It says that Jane Doe has it.
But they said as long as somebody signed for it and saying that you were going to get it, you were automatically involved.
But they said that? Or did you say that dropping the paperwork off, not talking anymore?
No, they showed me the paperwork of somebody signing it.
Okay, so there was no coincidence that after you showed up on my porch,
I asked them.
And then when I go get something to drink 10 minutes later.
So did you get the paperwork, Mr. Babbit?
I got paperwork on my porch. Did I get paperwork from any person?
All right,
no.
so you got paperwork on your porch that said what?
That there is a paternity thing for a DNA test for whatever, Chloe, yeah, for Kristen.
Did you show up for the DNA test?
I didn't think it was happening. I couldn't find it anywhere else, and I couldn't get any information.
I had wrote him previously and told him, hey, it's coming up, or you need to show up there, because it was a court-ordered one.
So the bottom line is there was an attempt to notify you, and you did get the paperwork that said, show up for a DNA test as it relates to baby Chloe.
I've also seen paperwork saying I want a free iPod. That doesn't mean it's true. I mean...
All right, you can be a smart mouth if you want, but you the one on child support. Yes, ma'am, what do you have?
I have the proof showing the paperwork stating that he is on child support.
Let me see that, Jerome. So this is paperwork that shows that you are supposed to pay $272.50 per month in child support.
I actually never got the paper. Here's the paperwork that I got. It was to my restaurant, and it was stated, it says you're supposed to be paying child support for Chloe Hanger. Didn't give a middle name, didn't give a social security number. On the birthday panel...
They're not going to give you her social security number.
Why, if I'm the father?
Ms. Hanger, I want to understand what he's saying, because I want to understand how a grown man gets paperwork from a court that he doesn't honor. You felt like it was like something fraudulent?
Well, yeah, if I would have got a letter that had it like postmarking on it, you know, that went through the mail, that would have made me feel a whole lot better about it, but I didn't.
It's because they personally served you. They weren't going to put it through the mail to say, oh, I lost it or never received it.
Right, well, because the mail would just, you know, register it and actually be proof of going and have a tracking number and all that, but that's beside the point.
So you got the paperwork. Did it identify Ms. Hanger as the mother?
Yes.
And you did sleep with her, right, at some point?
That is true.
And so if it had her as the mother and you had slept with her at some point, you didn't say to yourself, well, just in case this is real, I should call about this, this could be serious, I could maybe have a child?
Just in case it was real, I figured it'd be filled out, so.
So the bottom line is you just decided to disregard
and wait
the paperwork,
for the actual something like this to happen.
Got named the father by default, and now you are responsible for child support.
They told me
because
son or daughter.
I'm sorry?
If it's my child, I will, but you're correct.
Well, no, you're responsible for it now because you were named the.
They gave him 30 days after he did not show up for this DNA test. They gave him 30 days to appeal it, and he never did.
I can still appeal it.
No, you can't. Not after that. Your name's on her birth certificate now.
I didn't sign it.
Mr. Babbit, this has nothing to even do with the birth certificate. This has to do with the fact your failure to appear caused you to be named the father by default.
Did I look confused about that?
No, you look confused, period. And you look like you got a smart mouth. And you think you know too much, but what you should have known was to bring your butt to court. Then you wouldn't be here.
Thank you.
Now, you can get smart with me if you want to. Let me tell you something, Mr. Babbit. Let me tell you something, Mr. Babbit. You can get smart with me if you want to. You're going to lose every day of this week. I'll give you a minute to get yourself together, because you're not going to clown. Because it's a baby here whose father's in question, and we're going to get down to the bottom of it. I'm doing you a favor of trying to understand your position. But every time I ask you a question, you have something smart to say.
We're not getting...
Now, hold on. Do not question what I think you look like. I'm here to ask questions. You're here to answer them. I'm here to give you the answers to the questions you have as it relates to paternity. Now, whether you have animosity towards Ms. Hanger or you feel like someone tried to railroad you, that's your personal feelings, but what you're not gonna do is take them out on me.
I'm sorry, I was just trying to tell the truth.
No, yes, you are sorry. How did this relationship begin? Was it committed? Were you also sleeping with other people?
I met him through my roommate. He'd hung out a couple of times, played video games, listened to music, all that stuff, and then everything went on from there.
So the bottom line is you two were intimate.
Yes.
At some point.
Yes.
Did you use protection?
No, never.
All right, Mr. Babbit, do you think at the time she was sleeping with you that she was also sleeping with someone else?
Yeah, the other roommate. Yeah, because he was super jealous when I first showed up there. I was gonna tell me about this.
What made you believe he was sleeping with her?
He made a comment about how when she gets mad, walked around looking like a bulldog. And then the other statement, well,
wow.
We said it, you know what I mean? And then the other thing was talking about the size of her female anatomy. And it lined up, and he did.
This is new to me. I've never heard this. I don't know how exactly you can even...
Let's see how we can say this. There was an identifiable piece of her anatomy, and it was described, and then when you had a sexual relationship with her, that description was confirmed, and so you felt to yourself, they probably have been
right, probably, yes.
Okay. When you found out you were pregnant, you told Mr. Babbit because that was the only person you were sleeping with?
Yes, I had not slept with anybody else prior to him for a year with my ex-boyfriend.
So you had never slept with anybody else but Mr. Babbit during that window of
months.
time?
Well, you were sneaking out in the middle of the night doing something.
I was not sneaking out anywhere. The only time I get out of bed is to go to the bathroom.
Yes, and you wouldn't come back for an hour.
No.
So you would be asleep, and then she would climb out of the bed and not come back for an hour?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes 30 or 40 minutes, but it's a long...
No.
And that's when you thought she was also with the roommate?
That's yeah, because I start piecing together, I'm like, well, he said this, but that could have been a past relationship thing. Maybe he's just being jealous. But then her sneaking out, and it wasn't exactly sneaking out, but not coming back, it just kind of starts building some questionable situations.
The only time I would leave my bed when he was asleep is to go to the bathroom and come back.
Okay, so the court has ordered a lie detector test to determine if, in fact, Ms. Hanger was sleeping with the roommate, and we will have those results shortly. Moving on. During the pregnancy, did you immediately say, that's not my child, or did you participate?
I was wanting to get evidence of it, like a pregnancy test. Now, she did take a little, I guess she took one. I never saw her take one. She presented me with a pregnancy test that was positive. But I was like, well, you know, for $1, how about you just go get another one? That way I don't think some ghetto hood rat stuff's going on and we can, you know, get this worked out. And she objected to that. We went down to—
I did not object. I said we didn't have the money to go get it. When I told him to go and get it.
The dollar was right there.
I told him to go and get it. And he didn't have any money. I didn't have any money. We were together for 3.5 months in the house.
So at this point, you're not believing, Mr. Babbit, that she's really even pregnant, or you're not believing that the baby is yours?
I didn't even
believe she was pregnant.
All right.
I went to the doctor's appointment with her to get the ultrasound done. We're sitting there, they're doing this ultrasound, and the nurse is sitting there, okay, we're gonna find that heartbeat. And then the nurse is kind of going over her stomach.
It wasn't an ultrasound, it was a fetal Doppler. 2 different things.
Well, anyway, it's supposed to detect at 6 weeks and you're 7.5, and the nurse told me no, so that was my medical advice.
She said it was too early to probably tell.
No,
you were
she
supposed
did
to go
not.
to the next appointment and you took off to Florida.
Wait, let me get this. So when you were at that appointment, Mr. Babbit, and it was hard for her to detect a heartbeat.
At all.
You said, okay, she's not pregnant.
Yes.
And then that's why you went on ahead and went out of town, because in your mind, you thought—
clear of it. Yeah.
There was no pregnancy.
Well,
but
for one, I'm a bigger lady. It does take a little bit harder to detect things when you're a certain amount of weeks pregnant.
So you were instructed 2 weeks later, come back.
Yes, and he left 2 days before that next appointment.
She wasn't instructed on anything while I was there. She may have been instructed, but that evidence was withheld from me too.
Ms. Hanger, when you had the baby, you were there by yourself. Mr. Babbit was not there?
No.
All right.
This is the
Did
girl
you let him know?
Yeah, I let him know. I had to go get induced.
Yeah, you're like, I'm having
and then
a
I got
tonight. Wait, no, I'm not. No, tonight for real is the night. No, it's
I
not.
got induced.
And then after a week of that.
I got induced.
Did you?
A week before my due date. I was there for 12.5 hours. They couldn't get my water to break, so they sent me home. But I wrote him that first inducement telling him I'm in the hospital, and this is what he proceeds to tell me. I have evidence of the letter right here.
Let me see that, Jerome. So you tell him, I'm in the hospital and it's really gonna happen this time. And you write, I'm in the hospital, and Royce Babbit, the defendant, he writes back, that's great. Maybe they have you committed, because you have to be crazy if you think I'm coming up there for a baby I don't believe is mine.
And he also tried to tell me that I stole a baby because I never proved to him that I was pregnant.
No, what I thought could have happened is, as crazy as you are, you might have been up there doing something in the hospital, not pregnancy related, and then saw a new, like, here, I'll give you $10, let me take a picture with the kid, or your kid, this way I can Facebook it.
I am in a hospital bed. I had a cesarean. I had an emergency C-section the second time I got induced.
Up until this point, from the time you went to Florida until the time you had this baby, you all weren't speaking, he wasn't involved?
No, we started semi-talking on Facebook only. And he had me come pick him up in December. I'm 32 weeks pregnant, to come over to my house to talk in person. It's the first time I had seen him since he took off. He laid his head on my stomach. He asked me what I was naming her and stood in the middle of her nursery.
Yeah, I walked in
and
there, I was like,
makes you
I still
emotional.
don't hear a heartbeat.
Why are you feeling emotional, Ms. Hanger? What are you feeling?
That my daughter has to go without her father, because I went through that.
You've brought a witness today. I'll give you a moment to compose yourself. I'd like to hear from your witness. Sir, please stand. State your name, sir.
Roy Babbit.
Mr. Babbit.
Sorry.
You are?
Royce's father.
You're Mr. Babbit, Royce's father.
Correct.
And you're standing with the plaintiff.
Because Chloe is our granddaughter.
He'll take anybody's kid.
And I've got
you do believe that?
That's evident. Yes, I truly believe that.
And you brought evidence?
Yes.
I'd like to see that, sir. What is it?
It's a picture of my baby picture with Chloe.
This is a picture of
my baby picture.
Of your baby picture on the left, and Chloe's baby picture on the right.
Plus, Chloe has so many tendencies, looks, and mannerisms as Royce does that you know, it's really hard to deny. We've gone through this with the first child, and you know, it's just he needs to step up to the plate. You know, he's got an older boy, and we've gone down this road before, and you know, he needs to.
The first thing, step up. I moved my wife in.
The second one here, we are with Chloe.
We're in, my son.
You know, he needs to step up to the plate and take care of his children.
All right. Well, the court issued lie detector test. Mr. Babbit requested it, and we did so, and we have those results. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? This lie detector test was issued in order to see if, in fact, there is enough evidence to warrant this court ordering a DNA test. Ms. Hanger, you met with a licensed polygraph expert with 20 years of federal law enforcement experience. You were asked, Did you have sexual intercourse with your roommate after March 2013? You said no. The lie detector indicated deception.
That can't be, no, something's not right with this. I swear on everything. I did not touch my roommate. That is on my daughter. That is on my family.
There are notes in the court papers, I remember reading them, that refer to a one-night stand. Do you remember this one-night stand?
Yeah, it was back in August. It was, did I carry my daughter for 18 months pregnant? No, I did not. It was in August, and he was drunk, and we didn't even finish.
All right, the court has determined that there is sufficient evidence to warrant a DNA test. I am going to order both of you to submit to that testing, return to this courtroom, and we will have the results. Are we clear?
Yes,
Court is adjourned. We're back in session in the case of Hanger v. Babbit. You all have gone and submitted to the DNA testing, and we have those results for you. Jerome, the envelope. Here you go. Thank you. Before I read these results, if either of you have any words you'd like to say, truth you'd like to tell.
A drum roll.
No? All right. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Hanger versus Babbit, when it comes to 17-month-old Chloe Hanger, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Royce Babbit, you are her father.
I guess.
All I want is an apology, Royce.
Huh?
All I want is an apology for her.
I don't owe you any apology.
You owe me an apology for denying her.
Come on, dude.
I've told you from day one.
Yeah, it's my child now, but it wasn't then. I mean, I could
It
afford
was
to
your child since conception.
All right, let's not go into this nonsense because it just doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't.
That was the past. Let's just be honest. This is a lesson to women and men alike. When you engage in activities that produces children without using protection, you can end up with a child by a man that has this response. Ms. Smith, you open your case today because you say a high school romance with the defendant led to the birth of your 4-year-old daughter, Adriana.
Yep.
You testify that you are 100% certain he fathered your child, and once proven today, you want him to step up as he does with his other kids. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Womack, you claim that there was nothing romantic about the casual hookups you had with the plaintiff, and you deny you fathered her daughter. You say there are many other possible fathers, and until you have proof, you will not claim another man's child. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. If she was 100% sure that she was my baby, why wait 3 years to tell me? Someone texts me out of the blue, 3 years later, I have your baby, and I just accept it. I can't do it.
So you got a text. This is the text. Miss Smith says, you know I had your baby. And you write back, when was this? And then Miss Smith says, 2015. And Mr. Womack says, and why you think it's mine and just now saying something? So how were you feeling to get a text like that?
It really upsetted me because after all this time, I look like the bad person. I look like I don't want to be in her life.
And you feel like he's making no effort to get to know your daughter or have a relationship?
No, Your Honor. I am 100% sure that Mr. Womack here is my daughter's father. And I want him to step up and be a father to my daughter. And because, you know, my daughter is 4 and, you know, she don't have a father figure. And when she sees Mr. Womack, she wants to be with her daddy.
You said when Adriana sees her daddy, sees him where?
On Facebook, Your Honor.
Oh, on Facebook?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, so she got a Facebook father. That is sad. And why did you make a choice to show her Facebook pictures when you could have been in touch with the real man?
Some stuff had happened a long time ago, and I didn't have, you know, the courage to tell Mr. Womack. I just showed her Facebook pictures.
All right, let's peel back. Because at this point, I know I'm confused, and I'm sure everyone in the gallery is too. I don't even know how this started. Let's just start from the beginning. How did you all meet, and what was the nature of your relationship?
We was in high school. He was like the all-star, you know, basketball player, football player, and I'm just like, you know, a regular old freshman. So me and Mr. Womack, you know, started having sex.
You did?
Yes, ma'am.
And then that was just like, did you date, or what do you mean you just started?
We were trying each other DMs, like, you know, messenger. So.
Oh, that's how it starts?
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't even go to dinner or nothing? You just go in the DMs?
Yes, ma'am.
That's just nasty. So we just go in the DMs. Y'all got it way too easy, Jerome.
Right.
You don't even have to take nobody to dinner anymore.
You know how much money I spent?
And all you needed was the DM.
It was DM. Man.
Anyway, so this happens. It's not a relationship, it's just sex.
Yes, ma'am.
How many times did you have sex?
A lot.
It was 3, Your Honor.
No,
3 times?
3 times.
No, it wasn't, Your Honor.
I can count on one hand 3 times, Your Honor.
Well, it only takes one hand to count to 3. All right, so tell me about the times you remember when you all had sex.
One time was after a party.
Okay.
One time was in my room at my mom's house when she was away.
Okay.
And then the third time was on the back porch.
All right, and at some point, you find out you're pregnant?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, take me to that day. What happened?
My mother felt that I wasn't, you know, feeling well. I was supposed to go to church that Sunday. We didn't go to church. Found out I was pregnant November 23rd. I didn't, you know, tell Mr. Womack at the time because I told my ex.
So at that time, were you purposefully leaving Mr. Womack out? Were you purposefully saying, I'm just going to tell my ex he's the father and I'm not going to even think about Mr. Womack? Or did you forget about Mr. Womack?
Only reason why I didn't, you know, point the finger at Mr. Womack was because every time that, you know, me and Mr. Womack would have a sexual encounter, he would say, I pulled out. So it was to the point that I put the pregnancy on my ex.
You know, this is exactly why young people don't need to have sex. If I hear one more story about somebody not finishing the act, I can't believe that we are still in this place where we don't know. That doesn't work. If you want more episodes of Paternity Court, make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell. So you're saying you thought Mr. Womack couldn't be the father because he didn't ever really finish the act?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you wrote him off?
Yes, Your Honor.
So how did you come to realize that that is not the case?
Child support had did a DNA test, and the DNA test had said that he wasn't the father. So I went back to Mr. Womack.
And so how old was Adriana when this was happening?
When I told Mr. Womack, my daughter haven't even turned 3 yet. She was 2.
All right, so she tracks you down. You get the text. We've already read the text. What happened after the text, Mr. Womack? Can you fill that in?
I'm not gonna lie, Your Honor. I was claiming her because how I was raised up. If it's a possibility, it's mine. And I didn't want her to not have a father in her life when I can be her father if it's a possibility she's mine. But after talking to my family, you know, after 3 years and you just now telling me, you know, I can't do it, but we can find out. She also slept with other family members.
How did that just jump out of nowhere? How could it be a family member's baby?
She was messing around with him.
With the family member?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you messing around with the family member, Miss Smith?
Yes, Your Honor. But it wasn't during the time that I got pregnant with my daughter.
When I was messing with her, it wasn't just me and her ex. She was messing around. It was like it was a sport for her.
Were you having sex with Mr. Womack's family member during the same window of time that you were also intimate with him?
No, Your Honor.
That's a lie.
Mr. Womack had told me, he said, you could have slept with one of my cousins, and that's why the baby looked like him. I said, well, how does that happen? Oh, don't worry about that. I said, well, which cousin you think my daughter looked like? You know, it's pretty much that he just didn't
Well, you should know who it would be. What is this?
I have another cousin here who I tell things to, and he knows about her.
Sir, please stand up and step up to this podium. State your name for the court.
Cedric Sherman.
Mr. Sherman?
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell me you're gonna have some testimony.
Well, to just shed a little light on the situation.
Please do.
You know, everybody knows her as, you know, the go-to girl, so it really wasn't any, like, you know,
you say she was the go-to girl.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth. Go-to for sex?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so you got labels like that. That is the go-to girl. What do you do with? You just call the go-to girl? How does that work?
I mean, when one guy done messing with her, the next guy, you know, try to slide in or something.
Oh, so one person would have sex with her, and then if one of the friends say, I want to have sex, you all would say, well, you know you could call the go-to girl.
Yes, ma'am.
And how would you have her number? You share it?
They're DM.
She a sexaholic.
Were you that girl, Miss Smith?
I mean, yes, Your Honor. I'm not gonna lie about it. I was, because I figured, you know, I'm trying to fit in. So I was, you know, messing around with, you know, guys because I wanted to fit in. Because, you know, everybody would, you know, bully me or whatever. So it was just to the point that I thought just doing that then, but I know I was doing it the wrong way to fit in, you know, so.
Okay, so we know now that that's not appropriate, right?
No, Your Honor.
And that's no way to fit in. That's a way to end up in paternity court. But I will say this to you, as a young girl, I appreciate it. You finally testified to something that made sense, and I understood that. You were new to an area, you were being bullied, you were the new girl, and the way you tried to cope is you tried to be that girl.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it ended up turning into basically just getting used up by a whole bunch of young boys.
Yeah.
And I can see that hurts you to recall that. I see the tears. Because that's not who you want to be, right?
No, Your Honor.
And that's not who you wanted to be back then.
No, Your Honor.
See, that's why we come here. Just tell it. It's okay. I'd rather you just tell the ugly truth than try to make up a pretty lie. I will accept an ugly truth any day versus people talking in circles trying to make a lie pretty. Because that just frustrates me because it don't make no sense. As hard as that was for you to say, it made perfectly good sense. As hard as it was for me to fathom a young girl like you just giving your body away and laying down with anybody, any little young boy that wanted to do it to try to feel important or special or feel included, that's hard for me to accept because I don't want that for any young woman. But at the same time, do I know that that's a reality for many? Yes. There are young boys running around here having way too much sex, not because it's necessarily what they would want to do, but they're copying what they boys do because they don't want to look like the lame guy that don't want to do it. It's called peer pressure for a reason.
Okay.
So, now we're in the truth. Let's stay in it. So the truth is, you had sex with other guys besides Mr. Womack during the period. But when you think about the window of conception, you just thought, okay, Mr. Womack was in that period of time. It was either my ex or Mr. Womack.
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't have my daddy in my life. You know, I look at my daughter and, you know, she just like, she wants her dad, you know? The whole trip coming up here, she was like, am I gonna see my dad? I couldn't give her no answer, you know? She's 4, she'll be 5, you know? And to the point that I didn't have my daddy growing up, so, you know, that's the best I can do is give my daughter her father.
And she was so excited to come here today.
Yes, Your Honor.
She was so excited that you were coming to court today.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because she felt like the end result was that she was gonna be able to see her daddy in real life.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, that breaks my heart. Mr. Womack, that broke my heart. I know if you love children the way you say, that's just, you can barely even look at her picture. What are you thinking, sir?
I just wish I could have been there if she's mine, you know?
But this is what it takes, you guys. It takes being honest. It takes being real. All we can do is go forward. And in this courtroom, we believe the only way to go forward is with the truth. And I have that for you. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Smith versus Womack, when it comes to 4-year-old Adriana, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Womack, you are the father.
Just feel bad because I should have been there. I'm ready to be her father, Your Honor. She deserves it.
Yes, she does. I believe you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do and be there for this little girl.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Smith, you had to come clean on some very ugly truths. You had to go back in a time when you didn't feel worthy, but aren't you happy you did?
Yes, Your Honor.
Aren't you happy you had the courage?
Yes, Your Honor.